we go.
How's it, everybody? Breaking news. Newcastle have agreed a club record deal to sign German international Nick Woltemade. So the long wait is over. Eventually, in the summer transfer window of 2025, Newcastle have eventually signed a striker. That striker is Nick Woltemade from Stuttgart. The deal is worth a reported £64 million, which is 60 million with 4 million on add-ons. At the moment, we don't know if that's 60 million up front or spread over a couple of years. But he is surely set to take the number 9 shirt at Newcastle and lead the line for the Geordies this summer. So what do we know about Nick Woltemade? He's a 23-year-old German player. His birthday is on Valentine's, the 14th of February. He's a very tall player, 6'6" or 1.93 meters, so very tall, but very agile. He's not the quickest of players, but he's got really skillful feet. He tends to take penalties very well. He tends to drop deep or roam slightly wider. With that size and height, he's an obvious target man for the Geordies this season. Very interesting also that Newcastle have beaten Bayern Munich to the signing of Nick Woltemade. It's reported that the German champions were in for him, but obviously Newcastle had been scouting him for a while and he's chosen to come to the Toon. Also interestingly is that he will be the club's record transfer. The previous transfer obviously held by a certain Alexander Isak at 63 million. This transfer is going to go down as the club's record transfer at 64 million. Last season was his breakout season. He got 12 goals in the Bundesliga in 28 appearances. This has come as a little bit of a shock. The last couple of days have been about Strand Larsen from Wolves. Newcastle bid £50 million, that was rejected. They bid £55 million, that was rejected. Obviously there was talk about a third bid coming in at 60 million, but then Newcastle have gone left field and agreed this deal with Woltemade. They do have a reputation of doing this. A lot of focus generally being on one player, then Newcastle are in reality talking about another player, and it seems like they've done this again. Woltemade is an interesting player. Obviously when you look at him, he's got the same similar type of build, kind of very lanky, very strong, excellent touch. He is right-footed, tends to take penalties, can score a header as well. A very up-and-coming, exciting player, the perfect profile that Eddie Howe likes. He's very young, he's someone that can be nurtured. He's only 23 years old, only got 2 caps for Germany. A very exciting acquisition for Newcastle. Obviously there's questions whether or not Woltemade is a replacement for Alexander Isak, or is he a replacement for Callum Wilson. Talking about the sale of Isak, everyone has been saying, and as everybody knows, we've been saying for a long time, Newcastle needs to bring in 2 strikers for Alexander Isak to leave. It looks like we've got one over the line now. Will the second one be Strand Larsen? Let's see. The kind of money that's being spoken about leads me to believe that it is possibly going to be a second kind of expensive signing. One that if you add the transfer fee for Woltemade and you add the transfer fee for either a Visa or a Strand Larsen, those 2 fees will roughly cover what we may be getting for Alexander Isak. What I can see happening now is that Liverpool will probably start having more informal talks with Newcastle, and that there'll be a couple of dominoes falling where as soon as Newcastle confirm a deal for a second striker, I'm pretty sure very quickly after that we will see a deal go through for Alexander Isak. Alternatively, if Newcastle don't bring a second striker in, I can see Alexander Isak staying at the club. Whether that's in the short term and we find another replacement for him, or whether long-term bridges can be built and he can find his way back into the hearts and the graces of the Geordie faithful. It does leave it slightly open whether or not he's going to take that number 9 and going to be the starting striker for us, or whether or not Newcastle are going to split between 2 kind of similar leveled strikers in Woltemade and either Visa and Strand Larsen, or Woltemade and Isak. And obviously don't forget we do have Willisula, who's the young apprentice who would be the third striker at Newcastle, hopefully getting the minutes in the legs, the last 10 minutes, hopefully when we're 2-0 up, not 1-0 down chasing a game. So those will probably be the conditions in which Eddie Howe would like to operate. That's what he did last season. Very excited about the signing. Excellent news for Newcastle to eventually get a coup and get an exciting German international through the door. It'll be very interesting to see what shirt number he takes. If he does take that number 9 shirt, it might lead us to what might be happening to Alexander Isak. But excellent news. Well done, Eddie Howe and everybody at Newcastle for getting this deal over the line. Tonight, obviously, we found out Newcastle's Champions League opponents in the Champions League draw for this season. Obviously, this news breaking around the same time as the Champions League draw is very exciting for Newcastle. Time for the Geordie fans to book their tickets to some of Europe's elite clubs. I would say it's a pretty tricky draw, to be honest with you, bearing the pot that we were in. Obviously, Barcelona, PSG are the two real kind of headline star fixtures, which a lot of Geordie fans will be licking their lips to get into. We've got Barcelona coming to St James's Park, shades of Tino Aspria's hat-trick. I remember having those posters up on my wall from that game, an unbelievable event that will live long in the Geordie memory. PSG, the reigning Champions League holders, again a fantastic draw to go over to Paris and hopefully get revenge on the previous fixture from 2 seasons ago. You've got these kind of, middle to kind of upper tier teams in Bayer Leverkusen, Benfica, Marseille. You could probably argue PSV and Athletic as well, and then obviously Union Saint, Gilo is the last one. You'd probably be looking at those last 5 teams, so Leverkusen, Benfica, Marseille, Eindhoven, Athletic. Especially the home games against these teams is where you're going to have to target 3 points. We are going to have to try and get nick some away results as well. Whether or not that's changing the formation slightly, but yes, so much to look forward to. Eventually, so much positivity. Enough of the Alexander Isak saga. That will sort itself out. Newcastle have eventually got one striker over the line in Nick Woltemade. What are your thoughts about that? Are you excited to see him play? He generally does this when he scores a goal, so hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of that this coming season. Some real positive news for the Geordie fans. What do you think about the Champions League draw? Are you excited to book those tickets to Paris to take on the Champions League holders? How about that home tie against Barcelona? That Lamine Yamal up against either Lewis Hall or Tino or Dan Burn on the left. Unbelievable. Really, really fantastic and exciting news this evening. So let me know your thoughts, and don't forget,